Alright, I wasn't able to get anything done yesterday because I worked late, but I have the next 4 days off of work, so I'm going to try to get as much done as I can. I finally ordered tires and tubes and a chain last night, so those should be here next week. And then, other than oil cooler lines, that should be everything I need to get it done, completely done, that I can think of anyways. So I'm going to try to get some done here now. I'm still going to go through and test some of the lights with the battery and make sure the grounds are in the right spot before I go and put the motor on. So I'm just going to try to test some lights here quick. Alright, lights are tested. New taillight is mounted, wired up, that's done. Headlight is wired up, not mounted yet because the forks aren't on. The motor's in. So now I'm going to do swing arm, shocks, exhaust, front end, and make it kind of look like a bike until the wheels and tubes get here. Okay, so with powder coat, it's pretty thick. The guy did a really good job with, keeping powder coat off where the nuts and the bolts go, in the holes, on the bolt sides of things. But like on where the shock bushing goes in, I had to kind of sand that down a little bit to get the shocks to squeeze over, which is no big deal. That just means they're even tighter fit, which is good. But I got the new rear shocks on. I took the stickers off of them, the warning stickers, because they just kind of looked ugly. Got the front end on. It's just kind of on there, set level right here. I can still raise and lower, or I could lower the front end a little bit still yet. Nothing's really tight, but it's just kind of on there to get a look at it. But it's starting to kind of look like a bike. This is the cleanest this thing's ever been too, so pretty excited. But getting a little farther. Taillight works, headlight works, brake switch works. But so far, it's coming together. So one step closer. I'm also not going to wire up my electric start. So I'm going to probably just take this off, get rid of this wire altogether, and then if I do need to start it, all I gotta do is grab a jump pack. I'm gonna get a little jump pack, keep my backpack, whatever, hit it to that, hit it to a ground, jump start it, because once these things are warmed up, you can kickstart them no problem. Like, they start fine when they're warm. It's when they're cold is when they suck at starting, so you want the electric start. So if I gotta use a jump pack to start it once a day to get it warmed up, I'm not too worried about it. But these shocks do look good with the black, way better than that yellow junk ones I had. I mean, those things work fine, but they're just ugly. But this kind of goes with the black and white, theme of it, so I think it looks pretty good. Alright, I couldn't resist. I had to throw the wheels on just to get an idea of how the colors are going to look. The seat's just sitting on there too, just to make it look not so weird. Front hub, I still haven't painted black or swapped with my other hub yet. I'm probably just going to swap the hub. Less things to paint. It should be the same exact hub, it's just the brake rotor is a little bit bigger on this one. Got all my stuff hanging out the side on this side. But the white, the black, and the yellow look pretty good. I did swap my foot pegs out from what I've had for the last 4 years. These come out and then they kind of angle up a little bit, so they sit higher than my last set did, which I liked having the low sitting pegs because I'm kind of taller. But I'd always scrape these on the ground and hit them, and that actually broke my peg on my last set. So I took these off one of my pit bikes with brand new aluminum pegs, but they do sit higher, so my knees are going to sit higher on the bike. But I think it's just one of those things where I'll just get used to it after a while. With some nice fat tires on it, which will just add some more black to the whole thing. But I think it looks good. It's definitely going to be a little bit different compared to the white wheels I've always ran that just got filthy with brake dust and chain lube and all that stuff. But at least with the spray paint, these will actually clean up when I go to clean it really easily. The spray paint always just kind of got disgusting. And then we'll have the white fender too still. I think I'm actually going to swap this fender onto it because This is actually white plastic. This is painted. It was this gross green, and it obviously chips and looks gross. So I think it's a little bit different. It's a little bit narrower, which is actually better because it's kind of ugly looking. So I think I'm just going to put this fender on the pit bike, run this one on the CT since it's white. I don't have to paint it, and it won't chip or anything. It'll just be white. I might just clean it up a little bit, but I think I'm going to swap those over. I wish this one was white because I like this style a little bit better. It's more of like the dirt bike style fender. But we're going to put this one on, I'm pretty sure, just because it's white. It's the only reason. Otherwise I'd still run this thing, but it just gets gross after a little while. But yeah, so it'll have the white fender on there. But I'm actually really liking these shocks, and they shouldn't be an issue because I have them set just right here for the stiffness right now, just because by hand that's kind of what I felt would be good for how much I weigh. But I have plenty more. I could stiffen these things up probably, well, way too much. This might even be too much, so I think these shocks will be good. I'll just have to find a way to mount my plate, because these ones, I dampened them down to like right here once, and it was so stiff I couldn't even stand it, and I could have went all the way down to here. So these are set on the softest setting, and they're still like, they're almost too stiff still. So I feel like these will have plenty. These feel softer when they're all the way up, so I'll have plenty of adjustment with these. They shouldn't be an issue at all. The taillight, the seat's obviously not mounted on, it's just sitting there, but the taillight mounts right there. It looks pretty clean. I just got to find a way to run the license plate. I'll probably just run a bracket off the bottom of these two bolts here, where the stock taillight would bolt to, and run the taillight, or the license plate, straight under the light. Kind of like I had it, but just not run off the shocks. So that should work fine. But the 212 is back on the bike. Front end is back on the bike. Swing arm and shocks are on the bike. Obviously, got to take the wheels back off, put tires and tubes in them and whatnot. Just wanted to get an idea. I need new hardware for the wheels too. I'm going to get a nice Allen head like these, but these have been sitting around and got gross. So I'm going to get some fresh black ones. They're going to get gross after a while anyways, but I want it to look nice right away. And then some new hardware for the hub too. I just want to get a bunch of new hardware everywhere I can. I just cleaned up, like the swing arm bolt, I just hit it with a wire wheel, cleaned it up. I can clean those little black ones up too like I did in the license plate, but then they don't really look black. They kind of have a little bit of a polished look to them, which I don't want that. But I mean, she spins free. It's about as centered as I think I'm going to get it with the spacers I have, and having the brake spacer or spacers on the caliper to keep the brake perfect without dragging. I do got to pull the fork tubes back down to slip over my headlight mounts. It's not a big deal. But other than that, I mean, she's looking halfway like a bike again. So wiring's all done. I just got to plug the motor in and that's it. Hook a few grounds up. Motor's ready to go. Put the exhaust on. Probably going to do a few more things today, but I'd like to go to the hardware store before I do too much and get some new hardware, and then also wait for my chain and my tubes and tires to come in, because once I get the wheels all mounted up and ready to go and the chain, then there's nothing else holding me back other than I need to pick up some hardware. But then there's nothing else holding me back, and I'll bang it out, get it done. You know, I won't do this like do a little bit this day, do a little bit that day. I'm just kind of getting myself to the step where there's nothing else I can do until I go to either the store or wait for more parts to come in. But more of like a wait for everything to come in and then do it all at once. I like doing that better. But I got 4 days off of work and I'm super bored. It's like 50 degrees out today. So we're just kind of getting some things done. But like I said, the seat's just sitting there. I just wanted to see what it looked like with the seat. I think I'm going to buy a new seat, because where this rests on the frame, like basically where all your weight goes, I don't have a lock on my bike, like the little latch. This is all caved in, cracked, broken, so the seat actually sits a little bit crooked, which isn't very comfortable. This is a cheap seat I got 4 years ago anyways. It was like $60 or something, so I'm just going to order another seat. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably end up getting the same style. I don't know. We'll see, whatever looks good, but this is the cleanest this thing's been literally since the day I picked the bike up over 4 years ago when it had original paint. Like, even when I first spray painted this thing, it didn't look this good. So this is the cleanest this thing has been. Like, it actually, powder coat actually has like a shine to it, almost like it's painted and clear coated, which is kind of cool. It's not just like a flat white. But I don't know, this front end, when I had the same front end on this bike last year, beginning of last year, I wasn't a fan of it just because it was heavy. It was heavy, it didn't turn as sharp as this front end. So doing wheelies, it was heavier. The turning, like when you're going really low speeds, it doesn't turn as sharp, which caught me off guard a few times because I was used to, like, you know, how that one would turn super sharp before it hit the little stop. And the fork oil in it was so soft that it was almost unrideable for me. So I took it off almost instantly after like 1 or 2 miles, just one little quick ride. But I'm gonna stick with this front end. I'm gonna get used to it. The way it's heavy, which it's a bigger motor now, so the weight of the front end shouldn't really feel that heavy because it's got, it went from a 140 to a 212, so it should not be an issue with the weight. I'll get used to it eventually anyways. The brakes work a lot better than these. Like, these brakes worked good, but that rotor's so small compared to that one. The brakes work so good on these, so I like that. And I like the look of it a lot more than that. I mean, that looked good, whatever. It's better than stock, but it just doesn't look like this. This is what needs to be on it, especially with it being black. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just kind of mocking things up, making sure things are going to work. Yeah, they shipped out my chain today. Should be here Monday. Today is Thursday, so that'll be here Monday. I'm really slow at work. I'm only going to be working like 2 days next week. I only worked 3 days this week. I'm going to get some aluminum flat stock so I can build a bracket for the oil cooler to sit somewhere up here if I can. If not, I'll run the catch can over here, and then I'll have to run the oil cooler over here, kind of on the side of the frame this way. I don't want to do that. I want to put it up front so it gets the most air it can. If I'm going to run one, I might as well make it, you know, do what it's supposed to do. But either way, I'm gonna mount it somewhere because I'm going to run it. If you guys don't have these, you're missing out on life basically, because all you do when you solder wires together, you just put 2 wires in this thing, heat it up, that solder inside melts on its own, solders it, seals it like it does with a shrink tube. And I just soldered my taillight in, which if you guys have one of these taillights, where's my old one? I'll show you. It's over here somewhere, right here. Oh, gross, all up in this nasty transmission. These wires are tiny, and trying to even strip those or solder them is a nightmare. So I used the smallest ones, put the wires in there, heated them up right here, and they aren't going anywhere. It's perfect. Yeah, this taillight's pretty nice. This bracket, I didn't tighten it like super tight because it's plastic, which you don't have to because I have lock nuts in the back. But I mean, everybody complaining about the wires that don't come out the straight back and they come out the side. You literally can't even see them because they come under right here and go up through that hole where they're supposed to. And you literally, all you see is this little edge, which I don't know why people are crying about that. Still a pretty clean look. I think it looks really good. And when the seat's on and everything, you'll never notice that. And then if this light ever goes out, it just is 2-sided tape. That's what they come with. The lights are like, I don't know, I think I paid like $8 a piece for these. So here's one. I've already replaced that one once. Still works fine, but I got another one right here. So they just have this sticky 3M on the back. This one is the one, this one I think doesn't work. I think I blew it out, or a couple lights stopped working. But that one still works fine, so I mean, I do have a spare if that one ever goes out, but for $8, pretty much just buy a new one. And then all you have to do is take a little bit of a heat gun, heat this up, peel off the old light, stick the new one on, and that bracket will always be good. It's not like you gotta buy a new bracket if light goes out. Just replace the light. It's not like a permanent thing, it's just 2-sided taped. I guess that's just a little rundown, and this is going to be round 2 of putting this thing back together. Hopefully round 3 or 4 will be the final rounds and it'll be done and I can start it up and start testing carbs out. But I think that's where I'm going to call it quits today until I go to the hardware store later on and get some hardware and some flat stock.